If you've ever felt like someone completely destroyed the purest love you had to offer, this video is for you. I'm talking to the woman who gave everything, who loved with her whole heart, who believed that her love could heal someone who was clearly broken, and then watched that person not just reject your love, but actively destroy it. But here's what I want you to think about today. What happens when the narcissist finally realizes what he lost? Does he feel genuine remorse? Or does he just get angrier that he can't control the narrative anymore? I've spent years studying these toxic relationship patterns. I've heard thousands of stories from women just like you. Women who thought they were losing their minds. Women who were told they were too sensitive or too dramatic. And I've seen these same women find their strength again once they understood the truth. Today, you're going to discover how a narcissist reaches his breaking point. You'll understand the real impact this has on him. And most importantly, you'll see how this painful realization can become your path to freedom and inner strength. Because here's what nobody tells you about narcissists. They only recognize what's rare, precious, and genuine after they've already lost it. They cannot appreciate real love while they have access to it. Their brain literally doesn't work that way. Think about the love you offered him. Think about how you showed up every single day, how you forgave things that should have been unforgivable, how you made excuses for his behavior to your friends and family, how you twisted yourself into impossible shapes trying to be what he needed. That love wasn't weak. That love wasn't naive. That love was extraordinary. It was the kind of love that most people spend their entire lives hoping to find. And you offered it freely to someone who couldn't even see its value. But you know what happened, don't you? You got exhausted. You got confused. You started questioning your own reality. You began to think maybe you really were asking for too much. Maybe you really were being dramatic. And slowly, painfully, you started to pull away. Not because you stopped loving him, but because loving him was literally killing parts of yourself that you needed to survive. You started setting boundaries. You stopped accepting unacceptable behavior. You quit making excuses for him to other people. You began to remember who you were before you met him. And that's when something shifted. That's when he started to panic. Because suddenly, the person who had been pouring endless love and attention into his life was no longer available for his consumption. The supply was drying up, and he could feel it. This is where our story really begins. Not with your heartbreak, not with your confusion, but with the moment when the person who took your love for granted suddenly realized that he had destroyed something irreplaceable. You didn't lose in the situation. You weren't the one who failed. You were the one who loved courageously. And he was the one who threw away the most valuable thing he'll ever be offered. Here's the truth that no one talks about. The narcissist only understands the gravity of what he's done when he feels the emptiness that no one else can fill. For months, maybe years, he treated your love like it was limitless, like it would always be there no matter how badly he behaved, like you were some kind of emotional vending machine that he could kick whenever he wanted a reaction. He tested your boundaries constantly. He pushed to see how much you would tolerate. He trained you to accept less and less while giving more and more. And every time you stayed, every time you forgave, every time you came back, he learned that your love was something he could take for granted. But then something changed, didn't it? You stopped chasing him. You stopped trying to fix things that weren't your responsibility to fix. You stopped making yourself small so he could feel big. And suddenly, for the first time maybe ever, he couldn't predict your behavior. He couldn't manipulate you back into position. His usual tricks stopped working. His love bombing felt hollow. His apologies sounded empty even to his own ears. This is his breaking point. the moment when his mask starts to slip, when he realizes that he no longer has control over the narrative, when he understands that you're not playing his game anymore. Let me tell you what this looks like. He might start reaching out more frequently, sending texts that seem almost desperate, showing up at places he knows you'll be, suddenly remembering every anniversary and meaningful date you shared together. He might start telling people how much he misses you, how he never appreciated what he had, how he's changed and grown and learned from his mistakes. He might even start going to therapy just so he can tell you he's working on himself. But here's what's really happening inside his mind. He's not missing you as a person. He's missing the feeling of being worshipped. He's missing having someone who would drop everything to attend to his emotional needs. He's missing the steady stream of validation that you provided. He's realizing that other people don't love the way you loved. Other people have boundaries that they actually enforce. Other people won't sacrifice their own well-being to keep him comfortable. And for the first time, he's experiencing what it feels like to be on the receiving end of indifference, to reach out and get nothing back, to manipulate and have it fall flat, to love bomb someone who doesn't even read the messages. This is terrifying for a narcissist, because their entire sense of self depends on having other people reflect back their specialness. Without your constant attention and admiration, they have to face the emptiness inside themselves. And that emptiness is unbearable. So they panic, they escalate, they try harder and harder to get your attention, even if it's negative attention, because negative attention is still supply. Anger is still engagement. Even your hatred proves that they still matter to you. But what happens when you don't even give them that? What happens when you become truly, genuinely indifferent? That's when they realize the magnitude of what they've lost. That's when they understand that they destroyed something that cannot be replaced. Every narcissistic fantasy has an expiration date, and you were the one who served the eviction notice. For so long, he lived in this elaborate story where he was the main character, where everyone else existed to support his narrative, where he was always the victim, always misunderstood, always deserving of more than he was getting. In his story, you were supposed to be the devoted supporter, the one who would always be there to validate his version of reality, the one who would apologize even when he was wrong, the one who would make his problems disappear while asking for nothing in return. But stories like that only work when everyone agrees to play their assigned role. And you stopped playing yours. When you left, when you went no contact, when you stopped responding to his manipulation tactics, you shattered his entire worldview. Suddenly, he couldn't maintain the illusion that he was this amazing person who was just misunderstood by everyone else. Because if he was really as wonderful as he claimed to be, why did the person who knew him best choose to walk away? If he was really the victim in every situation, why did you look so much happier without him in your life? Watch what happens next. He'll try to replace you quickly. He'll jump into a new relationship and post about it constantly on social media. He'll love bomb this new person just like he love bombed you in the beginning. He'll tell everyone who will listen about how much better this new relationship is. But here's the thing about replacement supplies. They're never quite the same as the original. This new person doesn't know him the way you knew him. They haven't seen him at his worst and chosen to stay anyway. They haven't forgiven him for things that would end most relationships. The new person might be prettier, younger, more successful, more compliant, but they don't love him the way you loved him. Because they can't. They don't even know who he really is yet. They're still seeing the mask. And somewhere deep inside, he knows this. He knows that what he has now is shallow compared to what he had with you. He knows that this new person would run if they saw what you saw. He knows that he'll never be loved as purely and completely as you loved him. This realization eats away at him. Every day that passes where you don't reach out, every time he sees that you're doing well without him, every moment when he compares his current situation to what he threw away. The worst part for him is that he can't blame you for leaving. He can't play the victim this time. Because you loved him through everything. You forgave the unforgivable. You stayed when anyone else would have left. You gave him chance after chance after chance. He trained you to expect less and less from him, and you finally learned the lesson he taught you. You learned that he wasn't capable of real love. You learned that he would never change. You learned that you deserved better. So, you stopped expecting anything from him at all. And you found peace in that decision, while he found only emptiness where your love used to be. The narcissist's breaking point is the beginning of your liberation. Let that sink in for a moment. While he's spiraling, trying to figure out how to get back what he lost, you're discovering something incredible. You're finding out who you are when you're not constantly managing someone else's emotions. You're remembering what it feels like to breathe freely. I want you to understand something crucial. You didn't lose anything when you left that relationship. You gained everything. You gained your sanity back. You gained your self-respect back. You gained your future back. Think about who you were before you met him. Remember that woman who had dreams and goals and boundaries. Remember how she laughed, how she took up space in the world without apologizing for it, how she trusted her own instincts. That woman is still inside you. She was just buried under layers of gaslighting and manipulation and emotional abuse. But she never actually disappeared. She was just waiting for you to remember her. And now, you're remembering. You're rediscovering hobbies that you abandoned because he wasn't interested in them. You're reconnecting with friends that he isolated you from. You're making decisions based on what you want, instead of what will keep him happy. You're learning to trust yourself again. When something feels off, you pay attention to that feeling instead of talking yourself out of it. When someone treats you poorly, you don't immediately ask yourself what you did wrong. When you need space, you take it without feeling guilty. This is what healing looks like. It's not some dramatic transformation where suddenly everything is perfect. It's the quiet return of your own voice. It's the gradual rebuilding of your connection to yourself. You're remembering that you are enough exactly as you are. You don't need to earn love by being perfect. You don't need to shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable. You don't need to apologize for having needs and feelings and opinions. The love you have to offer is still there. It's still pure and real and valuable. But now you understand that not everyone deserves access to it. Now you know that love without respect is not actually love at all. You're building a new relationship with yourself, one based on kindness and acceptance and fierce protection of your own well-being. You're becoming your own safe space. And as you heal, as you grow stronger, something beautiful happens. You stop wondering what he's doing. You stop checking his social media. You stop hoping he'll reach out, and you stop fearing that he will. He becomes irrelevant to your story. Not because you hate him, but because he simply doesn't matter to your happiness anymore. He's like weather from 5 years ago, something that happened but has no bearing on today. This is your victory. Not revenge, not proving a point, not getting even. Your victory is indifference. Your victory is peace. Your victory is the life you're building without him in it. You are not the scar that he left. You are not the damage that he caused. You are not the broken person he tried to convince you that you were. You are the woman who loved courageously, who survived being broken, who chose herself in the end. The narcissist destroyed the love you offered him, but he didn't destroy you. He couldn't, because you are not something that can be diminished by someone else's inability to value what you bring to the world. You are living proof that real love exists. You carry it inside you. It's in the way you care about people. It's in the way you show up for your friends. It's in the way you treat strangers with kindness. It's in the way you love your family, your pets, your work, your dreams. That love is not damaged goods. It's not tainted by what he did to it. It's not less valuable because he couldn't appreciate it. A diamond doesn't lose its worth because someone mistakes it for glass. I need you to hear this clearly. What happened to you was not your fault. You are not responsible for his inability to love correctly. You are not responsible for his choices. You are not responsible for fixing him or saving him or changing him. Your only responsibility is to yourself, to protect what's precious about you, to honor what's sacred about you, to guard what's irreplaceable about you. And you know what's incredible? You've already done that by leaving, by setting boundaries, by refusing to accept unacceptable treatment, by choosing yourself when it felt impossible to do so. The woman reading this right now is not the same woman who entered that relationship. You've been through fire and come out stronger. You've been broken and put yourself back together with gold in the cracks. You've been lost and found your way back to yourself. You know things now that you didn't know before. You can spot red flags from miles away. You understand the difference between love and manipulation. You recognize your own worth in a way that makes you unshakable. No one will ever be able to gaslight you that thoroughly again. No one will ever be able to make you question your reality that completely again. No one will ever be able to convince you that you're asking for too much when you ask for basic respect again. You've graduated from a school that no one wants to attend. But since you had to go anyway, you learned every lesson it had to teach. And now, you're immune to the lies that once convinced you to stay in situations that were killing your spirit. This is your superpower now. This hard-earned wisdom, this battle-tested strength, this unshakable knowledge of who you are and what you deserve. You didn't just survive what happened to you, you transformed because of it. You became someone who cannot be easily fooled or manipulated or convinced to settle for less than you deserve. So let me ask you this. Have you felt that moment when you realized your own power? When you understood that what didn't kill you really did make you stronger? When you looked in the mirror and saw a warrior instead of a victim? Share your story in the comments. Tell me the moment when you knew you were going to be okay. Tell me what you've learned about love that you wish you'd known before. Because your story matters. Your healing matters. Your strength matters. And somewhere out there, another woman is watching this video and realizing that if you can make it through this, maybe she can too. You are not the ending of his story. You are the beginning of your own.